Welcome to the Printed by Mama podcast with me, your host, Kirsty Field, supporting small business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives and crafters, encouraging you guys at home to just keep crafting and create a life you love without sacrificing yourself or your family. Each week I'll be bringing you inspiration, support and guidance on how to turn that hobby or side hustle into your dream job. And I'll be joined by some amazing guests who are already living their dreams. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Welcome friends, it's your host Kirsty Field here, wife, mama, small business owner, mentor and crazy crafty lady. Thank you so much for joining me today again on our Sunday Social podcast. I am absolutely thrilled to have our guest with us today. She is the owner, founder and dog walking extraordinaire that is Naiomi of Muddy Paws in Coventry. Hello my darling.
Hello Kirsty.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm very good. Suffering slightly in the heat, but I won't complain too much about it.
Yeah, well, aren't we all? It's one of those things, isn't it, as Brits? We complain when we've got it, we complain when we don't got it, and it's never going to be good enough for us, is it? No matter what we do. No matter what we do. Muddy Paws. I mean, you know, I am a huge anything fluffy fan myself. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about Muddy Paws, how it started, where you got to? Just share your story with everyone, chick.
Well, I'm a single mom of 2 children, and I was finding finding a job that worked around me and my children was incredibly hard. I mean, everyone wanted me to be late, and it was like, okay, but I can't work past certain times because nursery times and earlies. And to be honest, my previous workplace was actually quite toxic, because every time I would say, look, my child's ill, I can't come in, I'd get the cold shoulder for days, and it wasn't healthy. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go back to what I love. I went to college to learn animal care, and I always loved walking and working with the dogs, doing the grooming side of things and all that. So I thought, let's just take the plunge, let's do it. At the time as well, I had a dog. I had 2 dogs, sorry. So I thought, yeah, it's be great. I can incorporate them into it. It can work around me. And so I sat there in a pub, as all great British ventures start. And I was like, I'm doing it. Let's go for it. So I decided that's it. I was going to start my own dog walking business, and I had a friend who was amazing at doing digital art. So she designed my logo and everything for me, and it kind of just took off, and it grew and it grew. But it was mainly for the freedom of working for myself, working around my children, not having to justify every single time I wanted to take a day off, or if one of my children feel I was poorly. But that's a whole new can of worms as well. And so I kind of got back to what I love doing, which was working with animals, and I've been doing it now. I will celebrate my 4th birthday in September.
Wow, 4 years. Well, many could go 4 years. That's a big milestone when it comes to small business. You know, I can't wait till I'm at 4 years. You know, way more experience than I have of all of this full time. But you know, the thing that comes across in your story so much, and I actually did a podcast and talked about it, recorded one, it's not out yet, but recorded one the other day, so much talking about being in that 9-to-5 box. And it took me personally, which the sort of community will know, it took me the best part of 10 years to get to a point where I finally understand that I don't fit in that box. No matter how damn hard I try, it ain't going to work for me. And I'd stressed and, you know, about it so much. And it doesn't. I'm so glad that somebody else is saying that other people can hear that everybody needs to understand the 9-to-5 box is not for everybody, whether it's to do with, you know, how you work, your mentality, whether you have health issues, whether it just doesn't work for everybody. But I want people to try and understand and get it across that there is other ways of working than doing the norm, working for the man. And it's so good to hear you say that.
It definitely. I mean, the job I did was I had set shifts every week, but they wanted me to work late, and they wanted me to work on a Saturday. And it's like, okay, I'm a single parent. There's literally me. I have 2 children, a toddler and a baby in arms, and it's like, you're asking me to work all these hours that I can't do. And when I say no, I'm being met with critical feedback, and you're not a team player. And I think one of the things that being in that environment forced me to do was go back to work a lot earlier than I was prepared to do.
Yeah.
So I was working when I was pregnant with my little girl. I had some health complications. My backwaters broke early, so I was put
Oh
on bed
no.
rest from
Oh God.
27 weeks.
Oh.
And I was still getting phone calls. Can you work from your bed? Can you work from home? This is pre-working from home stuff, obviously with COVID. And it was like, no, I've been told minimal stress. I do not want to have this baby early. I do not want a premature baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as she was born actually on time. They managed to keep me going
Good.
time. But 6 weeks later, I was back in the office full time, and I was like, I didn't have that start with my little girl because I felt so pressured to going back. And it was really hard. And that was kind of like the start of the I don't want to do this no more. This is ridiculous. I need an out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then applying for jobs. And as soon as you said single mom,
yeah,
it was like I'd put a gigantic curse over it, and it was like, no, this isn't working. And then that was just when I was like, I've had enough. You know what? It was hard.
Yeah.
Very emotional. And luckily, I did have support and help when I got started. But it was a struggle, and it was hard, and it was a slog.
Yeah.
But it's so worth it.
It is so worth it. It's so, and the rewards far outlay all those difficulties, especially in the early times. And I'm still in the infancy with PBM at the moment, and it is a slog. And I don't think people realise it's still quite taboo, isn't it? Working for yourself and being a small business owner and doing a startup yourself and things like that. You work more hours than the 9 to 5, but you have that flexibility of when you choose to do them. And again, I talked about, I've been very open with my mental health struggles over the time, and that was a big issue in terms of the fact that I couldn't keep doing the 9 to 5, and I had to have time off, and they were really unsympathetic with those sorts of things. If I need to take the day now because I am on a downer, then I can. Being a business owner allows you to do that, and it's the flexibility that attracts so many people to doing that.
I do have a similar situation, obviously, because when I was working the office job, working for my old boss, I was on antidepressants. I was really struggling with anxiety. My depression was sky high. I had obviously postnatal depression.
Yeah.
I'd gone through a very messy divorce, and it was like, I was like, obviously trigger warning, I was quite bad. I was very, very low. It was to the point of what's the point?
Yeah.
And since starting my own business, yes, it was hard to begin with, but I'm honestly in a happier place. I am off the antidepressants.
Good.
Because of the job that I do, I'm not a people person.
Yes. Yeah.
So I work literally with dogs. I think it's quite hilarious because I'll be walking around, I'm having a chat with these furry little creatures next to me, not expecting any response, but it just gets it all off my chest.
Yeah.
By the end of the week, I'm exhausted, but I'm mentally happy.
Exactly.
And for my own personal, obviously mental, again, for me to be around for my children in the future, I definitely had to make that step too. I need to work on mental health. I need to work on everything, and put in obviously my heart and soul into this business. It has helped me overcome certain anxieties. I'm still not a people person, but I'm less anxious and jittery and scared when it comes to dealing with strangers, because I put on this persona of this big bad boss woman.
Yeah.
But literally, I'm really cuddly.
You really could, yeah. That's so interesting you saying about putting on this persona, because that is something that I am so actively trying hard not to do with PBM. I am trying to be so authentic, which is why I'm being so transparent with everything that I'm talking about and stuff, because I've spent, like I say, the last 10 years working for the man in these 9 to 5s, not being able to get sort of 12 months down the line anywhere because I was trying to look for something that just wasn't there, but putting on this facade every single day for the last wasted 10 years doing that, because I thought that was what needed to be done. But when you finally understand that that's not the case, and you can be authentically who you are, like you are with the dogs, and just talking to the dogs like you do, that's got to be some sort of amazing therapy, that you are giving yourself in terms of what kudos to you on that. But yeah, being able to be so authentically yourself when it comes to being a small business owner is just second to none. And I think what you're doing is fantastic. And I know sometimes that it's difficult and you do have to sort of almost putting on a facade and being somebody slightly different, just changing the way you communicate and stuff like that when you deal with adults and humans and when you deal with the dogs. But it's nice that you can see that that's different.
Yeah, it's less taxing because obviously working in that environment beforehand, it was like that persona was 24/7. It wasn't a persona I wanted to portray. I was being this very timid little, hello, how can I help you, curtsy, all that sort of thing. So the persona I put on now when I meet new clients is more a case of, right, this is not like me, like 2.0. I feel a bit more confident, and it's a good persona that I can put out. But at the same time, it's like I'm not like this 24/7. I am a little softy. I am very much an introvert. Lockdown I loved in a way because I was able to stay inside and cuddle up with my books and the dogs. But at the same time, being able to put a persona on that I actually want to exhibit to get over certain anxieties, which I just struggle from, is a lot more healthier than the people pleaser persona that you had to do in the 9-to-5 industries.
I think for you it's putting your business hat on a bit more, isn't it, when you talk to the humans rather than the dogs. And that's that's completely understandable, because how you portray yourself as a businesswoman is very, very different to how you are when you're running around in your muddy wellies outside with the dogs, because you have do you think that sometimes almost, as silly as this may come across as it sounds, I'm going to try and put it in a way that it's not playing in my head, because that sounds stupid. But do you think, because you know that there's no expected response from when you talk to the dogs, and do you almost feel like you really can be so genuine, so open, because there's no judgment? There's no comeback from anything that you're going to say, almost, because you can say whatever you want. Nobody's going to go, oh my God, what the bleeding is she on about? Do you know what I mean?
I maintain that if I talked to people the way I talk to the dogs, I will be taken away. If you phone calls will be made. But no, it is very much a case of I can just go say what's on my head, say those, and sometimes it's just getting out those intrusive thoughts that sometimes can creep in, and just go, you know what, to these dogs, and they just go look at me and go, treat, sort of thing. It's like, listen, there's your treat, off you go. I know that there are certain people I can be like that with. Obviously, my partner now, he is so understanding and he is so amazing, and I can be my very, very weird, unique, crazy self. But obviously, with certain friends and some family, I do tone that in. I can be a bit much, I've been told.
Rein it in. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
I just let it out.
Let loose.
Yes.
Let yourself off your leash with the dogs, and it's all good. This is clearly what we've been missing.
I feel so much better for it. I get back into that van with the dogs and go, right, we can people now. Let's go home.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So 4 years is a very, very long time, and you briefly touched on the fact that it was a really hard slog when you first got started. What was it? What was the motivation? What was the thing that kept you going, that think, do you know what, I want to get to that 12-month milestone, that 2-month milestone? What was the drive? How did you get there?
Easiest answer would probably say it's the independence and all that, but to be honest, the drive to keep it going was turning up at that school every home time and my children running at me and giving me the cry.
Oh, bless you.
Big hugs, because I wouldn't get that beforehand, because they were in childcare or somebody else picking them up. By the time I got them, they were tired, they were cranky. I was getting the tantrums and all that because they were tired. But at 3:30, I get to that school gate and they would scream, "Mummy," and just come running at me. And just that initial hug and that pleasure that they had of seeing me, that was like, yeah, I've got to make this work, because I've got to make it work for them. And I still get that. I still do the school pickup at 3:30 every day, and my daughter still screams across the playground. But my son's a bit older now, and he's like, yeah.
I don't know you. I'll walk 10 steps. You totally choked me then, hun. Absolutely. So I had to take a deep breath myself, because one of the biggest things that I regret is I missed that. I missed both of my daughter's first steps. You know, I never got to do the pickups. I was doing the drop-offs when they were still in the pajamas in the morning potentially, and I'd pick them up at night, and they were already dressed in onesies, and I'd slip them out of the car seat, put them into bed, and that is a massive regret in my life, and I can never get that back. And to anybody that is in a position where they feel like, do you know what, this and time goes so flipping fast. They're gonna be teenagers before you, like my eldest daughter is 13 in August. I mean, she's going on 30 already, because that's how teenage girls talk nowadays. But it frightens the life out of me, and God, I wish I could go back and shake myself and say, do you know what, you are missing this, you cannot get it back, do it now. And I can't, but that's why I'm shouting out to everybody out there who is even considering it and knows that that is their biggest drive, that they are going to have that family time back. You know, I think you would agree that is the thing to do. Just do it.
Exactly, definitely. It's like I'm the same as you, but because my daughter went into childcare from 6 weeks old. I missed all of her firsts, but we're creating new firsts.
That's it.
New firsts, stuff that I can appreciate and she can appreciate now as well, because obviously as babies they don't remember all those firsts. We do as parents, but they don't. But now, because she's able to be involved in, it's the first time I rode a bike, it's the first time I did this, it's like we can enjoy it together and really appreciate more. So it's creating a bunch of new firsts for, obviously, not a replacement, but to kind of fill that little hole that has been left from what was missed. Obviously my partner has a child as well, so between us we have 3 children. hands full. It's absolute mayhem, absolute bedlam here sometimes, and sometimes I do feel like, okay, oh my god, this is too much. But then I sit there at night and I think, I wouldn't have that any other way right now. The mayhem, the drama, the excitement, just the general noise, it's like I'm there to experience that with them, and that just means so much.
Like we said, the time goes so fast, and before you know it, you'll be like in a quiet house, and you'll be like, where the hell has like 20 plus years gone? And they'll be all grown up and moved out, and it'll be, it's just, I completely understand. I was talking with one of our other guests the other day about, you know, getting your kids involved, and I know that just the activity that you do is such a family friendly activity. Do your kids get involved with the business? Are they quite hands on? Do they like to, you know, take it in turns to hold the lead?
Yeah, they can. Obviously, I work during, because again, being self-employed and being what I done, I've got that flexibility. I don't work during the holidays, so we've got the half term coming up.
Great. Next week,
so I'm taking the week off to spend with the children, but I still do home visits. So if they're really struggling, I'll say, yeah, I'll come to the home. And when I do cat visits and small pet visits, I do say my children are with me, and they're like, that's great, that's fine, and they will come in and they will fuss the animals and everything. There's a couple of dogs that I do sometimes take out on a weekend. I don't do it as often, it's just every now and again to help some people that are really struggling. I'm like, yeah, your kids are with me, I'm sending them photos, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if you should pay me, I've not done any work, my kids have just took your dog. And it's good for my children as well, because at the minute we unfortunately lost our pets.
Oh, bless.
Shortly after COVID, we had a very old little miniature dash hound, and she passed away. And then we lost our Harrier hound not too long after. So it gives them a sense of we've still got access to animals, they've still got access to pets, and sort of teaching them the correct behavior around animals as well. They don't go running up to strangers' dogs going, I want to cuddle. It's like, please don't. But they do get very involved, and they're always telling their teachers that my mummy plays in mud. To us, I do. Sometimes I would go put the school run and I look put together because I had a time to come home, get showered, and go and get the kid. Other times it's like, take me as you see me. I've got a muddy bum, my trousers are covered, my hair looks like I've been dragged through a bush backwards. There usually is a stray leaf somewhere. And the teachers are just like, it's flip a coin of how you're going to turn up. And I'm like,
I think that's mum life in general, isn't it? Everybody has like this, you know, put together mum life persona where you can tell that potentially they maybe got up at 5 or 6 a.m. and had a good, you know, period of time in the bathroom before everybody else wanted to get in and use it, especially if you're like a one bathroom household like we are. We have our turns, and if you miss it, you're screwed, that you don't get in the bathroom before you manage to get out of the house. And then there's the days like I am today where I'm recording my podcast and I know that nobody's going to be looking at me apart from you, and I know you don't mind, chick, and I've got my slippers on and my joggers and my really, really sunburnt face, and you know, I don't, you know, I am going to be sneaking up to school later, but I'll be putting on a baseball cap so that I don't scare the life out of all the children. But yeah, I think everybody has that. But again, that's nice, isn't it? I find that there are days where I want to have down days, where I don't want to get dolled up to the nines. I want to give my skin a break from the makeup and all the, you know, and all the drama. And there's some days, especially when they are bad mental health days as well, where I do want to dress down a little bit. But if I was in an office in a 9 to 5 and I was, you know, got to go in suited and booted every day, that would have just been, that would have been ridiculous. I want to talk to you.
Again, what I struggled with as well as the fact is I had a certain way I had to look, and it wasn't my way. It wasn't my vibe. I've been called crazy goth chick.
Haven't we all?
I'm very witchy. I'm pagan, so everything I do is quite, you know, pagan-y, very witchy, very, very weird, which I love. But
we're all about the weird here. You're welcome to be with the other weirdos. We're all weird together, so no, you're fine. You're fine. Welcome to the weird. Yeah.
We have a saying in my house that weird is just different, different is beautiful, and beautiful is unique, and all that sort of thing. So it's like,
oh my god, weird, I love that.
Different, unique. So I embrace the just be as weird as you want.
Right, you gotta.
I had to look the part. I couldn't dye my hair green.
No, no.
Wear my witchy stuff. It was like.
Right, I'm going to say right now that I got to put that phrase on a t-shirt. Like that needs to be on a shirt for you to like wear loud and proud, because that is just, I love that so much. Say that again, because I think that's important. People need to hear that again. Go on.
So weird is different, different is beautiful, and beautiful is unique.
Hell yes. Yeah. Amen to that. Absolutely. So
whenever anyone, I say to my children, if anyone ever calls you weird, say thank you, because it's a compliment.
It is. Yeah, too right. I want to talk to you lastly about the sort of journey with your sort of advertising and marketing and things like that, because this is something that comes up quite often with small businesses, especially new people who are starting from scratch, from absolutely nothing like you did, and being able to start that off and continue it. What sort of, because I know obviously you're on socials, but you don't have your own website. Where does your sort of clientele come from? How do you generate that business?
Mainly it is from advertising on socials, Facebook and Instagram. I did have a website in the beginning, but it was just, I was spending out a lot of money for something that wasn't being utilised properly.
Sure.
And that might be my own learning curve, that I wasn't using it properly. But it's when I did research into where I should advertise, everyone said they search on Facebook, they search on Instagram, they go through word of mouth. I thought, well, the website's just sitting there and it's just a bit of a money drainer right now, so I'll get rid of that. And
sensible.
I purely focused on Facebook and Instagram. I just kind of went round, like on a lot of where I live in Coventry, there's like little pages, like, you know, Eastern Green and My Tile Hill and Charlesmore, and like little pages for areas. I'm not sure if other ones have that.
Yeah.
And I just joined as many as I could, found the rules for these pages, or would message the admins and go, look, when can I advertise on these pages? And on these days, I would put up a post, Muddy Paws, if you want your dog walked, here I am, sort of thing. And then in the beginning, for the first year, I offered like an incentive to my current customers. Excuse me. Where I would say, look, if you recommend a friend and they book in, you get a free walk.
Great.
Everybody loves a freebie.
Of course they do.
And I did things like, to keep the customers regular and to sort of get that loyalty. It was like every fifth walk half price. It wasn't sustainable in the long run, but to get me kind of going and get the name out there for the first year, I was able to offer those. And now it is very much sort of word of mouth. I'll see people when it comes up and it's like, oh, I need a dog walker. I'm tagged in it a few times, and then I'll
That's
send
so
out a
good.
message going, hi, I've been tagged saying you need a dog walker. Here's what I offer. Is that anything that might be able to help with? But it was literally just methodically about an hour every evening, sitting down, going, right, I can post on that page, that page, that page. I can do that. Let's go for it. Let's do it. There was probably easier ways to do it. I felt I had more of a control over it to do it manually that way. And I'd sit in bed with a laptop with a cup of tea, and it was kind of like my little downtime almost was doing that. So, but it was hard. I mean, I would post things out and I wouldn't hear anything, and it would go weeks, sometimes months before I'd get an inquiry, and not all inquiries become customers.
Of course not.
So it was just that keeping it going. With the dog walking side, I reached out to some established dog walkers. I was like, look, I'm quite new in the area. If you have any clients that come to you that you can't accommodate, could you please recommend me?
That's brilliant.
And that helped a little bit. I got a few through that. But now, obviously, because I'm 4 years going, I have got a name for myself now. And luckily, my current customers will recommend me out. Great. As well as family and friends when they see need a dog walker. But Facebook and Instagram are definitely were a big integral part of getting my name and the word out there, because if you're not on Facebook these days, what rock are you under?
Very true. It's very true, and it is almost a whole. I was talking to somebody again the other day when we did another podcast that the whole social media side of things is a second business running alongside your existing business, doing all the housekeeping side of things, any accounting that you're doing, all of the housekeeping, as I like to put it, all the admin stuff. That is a second. You are anybody that's running their own business and is doing the fun stuff and then all the other stuff. That's two businesses. You're a double business holder as far as I'm concerned, and it takes up so much of your time, and trying to find that balance can be really difficult sometimes. So I'm glad that you can sit in bed with a cuppa.
Yeah, it is. It's a sit in bed in the evenings when I know I've not got anything the next day. Fridays I work a half day, so I can actually then concentrate on my admin, like it used to be, concentrate on my admin and things. I tend to find I do other things on a Friday afternoon now because I've got a free afternoon. But I've got my routine so much down to a T that I can do my invoices within sort of like half an hour, 45 minutes now. I can post up quite quickly because I've got little things saved. And sometimes I do let it slack, so I don't post as often on social media as I probably should. But I know that I can do it quite quickly. As in the early days, I'd probably be on it like an hour or two every evening. I've got that down to about 45 minutes, an hour every other evening. But there are certain days, especially once a month, when it's doing all the accounts to make sure I'm on top of that, because tax season is horrible.
Yeah.
I will sit there and go, Mummy's busy. And I will sit in my bedroom, shut the door, have a cup of tea, a flask of tea, bottle of water, a biscuit and a snack or something, and I'm in there for a good 3 or 4 hours.
She's hunkered down, ready to do the account.
Literally, I bunker down. I literally bunker down. Like,
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, lastly, I'm just going to touch on one other point that you mentioned, because we obviously a huge community side of things for PBM. That's the heart and soul of what I'm trying to build here. So you being able to say that you reached out to other dog walkers and that they were supportive with what you were doing, and you were sharing business between themselves, that and you having that as a positive experience is so important to me, that knowing that, again, these small pockets of communities within, there's enough business for everybody. There is enough, there's enough pieces of the pie for everyone. But to be able to share that between other community members and pick off of each other is so fantastic. And it's good to hear that you had a nice experience doing that.
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously anything. There's always yin and yang, light and dark, positive, negative, and you do still. I did get some negative feedback. People like, well, no, you won't be here very often. You're one of those little timers. I'm like, okay, but some of them were actually really nice. They're like, yeah, sure, not a problem. Some you never heard back from. It was that kind of thing, like when it is like social media and things like, don't read the comments kind of thing, isn't it? It's like, don't read into the negative. Just okay, they've probably had a bad day. They've probably had a bad run-in with a client themselves. I'm the first person to go, hi, and they've just took it out on me.
Yeah.
I'll put my hands up, it's not a problem. And I just then obviously left them to it. Like I said, there has been down days with the business where I've just sat there and gone, why am I doing this? I should just give it up. I've had enough, because of bad experiences either with customers, dogs, Joe Public. But then the bit that, like, the positive days really do outweigh those negative. And in the early days, it's so easy to focus on those negatives because they might be more frequent than the positives to begin with. But over time, those positives build, and you learn to just go, shake off the haters and just
you
go,
do. And it is so hard to get yourself into that mentality, especially when you're already struggling a bit. But once you're there and you look at that overall of the 6 months, 12 months or a month of just judging how bad days are, good days are, and looking overall, they'll definitely be more good than bad, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I kept a little diary in the first year of just all the positive experiences that I had. So when I was having those really bad days, I would just whip out that little book, start reading it, and it would really kind of make me go, okay, this is worth it. I can do this.
I love that idea so much. I love that. I really do. That's so amazing.
Do something like that. Keep a positive journal of all the happiness that has happened, all the good things that have happened, because the negative, unfortunately, can have a massive impact. But the negatives are temporary and the positives are definitely there.
That's it. Well, we can't say any more. Keep on the positives. Keep on the positives. We are on our social medias for you, lovely. muddypaws.cov on Facebook. You are also on Insta, so that's where people can go and find you to say hello and share the love. And even if you're not in the area of Coventry, share some love for our fabulous owner, because that's what it's all about. It's about, jumping out there and putting yourself out there, but also supporting others. Let's support this fabulous lady in her amazing journey that she's had so far. 4 years. Wow. I am having a big fat cake when I get to 4 years. I'm telling you right now. Thank you so much, Naiomi, for joining us today. Muddy Paws, if you fancy a dog walk or you want Naiomi to have a chat to your animals, she would absolutely love that, clearly, of course. If you are popping over to Facebook to make sure you like her, do make sure you like the Printed by Mama Facebook page, and also our community group. That's where we all get together over a cup of tea to have a whinge and a moan and a share and a just general chat about life and support each other. That's what we're there for. We've talked about it today, how much supporting each other is important, so make sure you're doing that. We're going to leave you to it for today. Naiomi, thank you so much again. Make sure you come back and update us on how you're getting on when you're approaching that 5 years. We'd love to hear from you again. And we'll see you all on the next Sunday Social, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks, Naiomi.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.